Hey, hey, right, I think we're live. I think it's working. Awesome, good, okay. Hi everybody, my name's Nick Bottini and I'm a coach, musician and author. And I'm really excited and proud and happy to be talking in Steve's Mind Canyon group tonight. And the topic that I've chosen to talk about is clarity, your greatest resource. Now, what do I mean by clarity? We've all had experiences, if you're anything like me, we've all had experiences where we've had a good time. We've had a really comfortable experience. We've had nice feelings. We've felt connected to ourselves. We've felt happy. We've felt whole. We've felt complete. And we've felt connected to life. We've felt connected to the universe, that sort of thing. And we've had times when we've felt less than connected, less than pleasant, rather lacking, insecure, unfriendly. Hey, Steve Heath, boom. Boom to you too, my friend. Boom indeed. And I've got Steve Carr is here in the room as well. This is fantastic. Awesome. And it can be very easy as a human being to oscillate between different experiences, right? So we can feel great one moment and we can feel crap the next moment, or we can feel secure and whole one moment and we can feel totally insecure and lacking the next, right? What's going on? What is going on there? Because if you look on the internet or you listen to the messages that we get in the media or from the things that we're often told, most of the time we're told a certain story. And I guess the topic of what I'm talking about tonight is that there's something different going on, something a lot simpler going on than people often realise. Okay, so I'd like to just start with this. With every living creature, or with every living plant, or it could be a cat, it could be a dog, it could be people, when we're in the presence of something that's living and alive, there's something about that living thing, there's something about that life, there's something about that aliveness, and you don't need to be religious, you don't need to be spiritual particularly to get this. Hi, Chris Greenfield. But whether you talk to people of science, or whether you talk to people of religion, or whether you talk to people that call themselves spiritual, or whether you talk to people that have from whatever part of the country, or part of the world, sorry, when we're in the presence of something that's living, there's something about it. There's kind of like this life force or aliveness or this energy. It's like we're kind of aware that Mother Nature's doing something, It's like when I look into the eyes of my cat, who's not about at the moment, but when I look into the eyes of my cat, I see life looking back, And it's kind of like a tree knows how to, go from being a bud to being a flower or being a branch. It kind of, hola Emma, hi George. There's kind of this intelligence of life in a completely sort of non-religious way. And I suppose what I'm saying is that Mother Nature's doing its thing. Mother Nature is causing a bud to unfold. Mother Nature is causing my cat to go crazy one moment and sleep the next. And there's kind of like this ebb and flow of energy. So like for an example with a plant, it knows how to grow, how to flourish, and there's nothing you can really do to stop that plant from flourishing given half a chance. It's kind of got this automatic intelligence built into it, provided it's got water and stuff, and it's got soil and all the stuff that it needs sort of biologically. Then in terms of it living and growing and continuing, hi Claire, then it does its own thing. It's kind of got this like Mother Nature program sort of built into it And if it encounters a rock, then its roots will grow around it. If it's covered by something and the leaves can't get to the light, then they kind of grow around it. They know how to flourish. Mother Nature knows how to do her thing. Okay, now we're always part of that. We're always part of Mother Nature and her plan, if you will. Hi, Carly. Hey, smiley face. Mother Nature runs the show. That's what I'm saying. So Mother Nature runs the show, and she knows exactly what she's doing. Mother Nature doesn't really make mistakes. Mother Nature styles things out. Mother Nature knows how to get shit done. Okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but that'll be the last one I'll be told off maybe. So Mother Nature knows how to do her thing, and the mind is part of that system. The mind is part of Mother Nature's system. So the message that we often get is that we need to control, that we need to engineer, that we need to manage, that we need to, I guess, change. Like Mother Nature doesn't know what she's doing, and we know best. It's like the plant thinking that, okay, well, I happen to be in shade at the moment, but I'm going to press on anyway because I'm a strong plant and I'm just going to grow in the shade. I'm not going to follow my natural instincts, which is to head towards the light. And the title of the talk is Clarity is your greatest resource, because what happens is that pretty much the mind has a natural system to it, and I'm just going to talk about that right now. So what I was saying about at the beginning is that we kind of have these two modes. We kind of have clarity, which is this little stick person here with the sun above his or her head, and then we have the other stick person with clutter above their head, and that could be a head full of stuff, and this could be someone who's not really thinking too much and is kind of in the flow and is in the moment. I'm a musician, and people who are often experiencing that from time to time describe that as the zone, and people who we talk about this as being a disastrous performance. And really, all we're really saying is, are we connected to ourselves? Are we connected to the moment? Are we connected to Mother Nature's kind of innate knowing and how to flourish, or have we forgotten it? It's not like that clarity has gone anywhere. It's just that we can easily feel disconnected from it, And there's a system, and the mind has got this kind of self-clearing system to it. And I've got another prop. I hope you're enjoying my props tonight. Give me a thumbs up or a hello if you're enjoying the props. So I've got this slightly misshapen snow dome thing, and if I shake this snow dome, it's got some rather spangly, glittery stuff going on. So the more I shake it, the kind of more obscured, if I try and look through it, I've got some thumbs up. That's a good sign. The image, the image of who I am, kind of gets obscured if I'm shaking that. But if I leave that, we like the stick man. That's good stuff. Good. Thanks, Carly. If I leave this snow dome thing to its own devices, it clears. It kind of clears on its own, And if some geezer shakes it up again, then of course, because of the way it's designed, it kind of goes cloudy. And you might think, well, why am I talking about this ball? What's that got to do with mental clarity? Well, that's exactly what goes on inside your head, and it's not what we're told. But it's exactly the fundamental principles of what's going on, is that we have this amazing capacity as human beings to think and to create our reality. I don't just mean taking action and sort of doing things in the world, but I mean the way that we see the world, the way that we experience the world, and the way that we, the way that we interact with the world, our relationship, with the world, And, there are times when we can kind of lose sight of the wood for the trees, And there are times when, as the dust sort of settles, it could be that, you wake up, you've slept on it and you've woken up, or it could be that you take a shower and your head clears, or it could be that you get really angry and then all of a sudden you can see the wood for the trees and go, enough is enough, I need to do this. All of those are examples of suddenly falling out of this kind of illusion of there being a problem, of there being stuckness, of there being suffering of some kind, and then bang, all of a sudden the mind has cleared and we're suddenly back in the present moment, and we can see clearly, we can see the wood for the trees. And the thing is that it can feel like, if you're having a shitty experience, that when you're having a shitty experience, you kind of go looking for causes of that shitty experience, and you go looking outside yourself. So it could be, like for me as a performer, it could be that I'm feeling really nervous before a performance, and it could be the fact that it's a big gig, or it could be the fact that I really want to impress this other player that I'm playing with, or something. And it can really be quite compelling to think, oh, I've got a cluttered mind at the moment because of that person, or because of my situation, or because of my bank balance, or because of who I am, my personality, or because of the shape of my body, or because of how old I am, all that kind of stuff. And all of the time we're missing this really fundamental underpinning, which is that basically the mind fills up and it kind of empties, it kind of goes cloudy and it kind of goes clear. And that's just going on all the time. It does its thing. It kind of Mother Nature's course is being followed, not some kind of intellectual course. We don't have the power to kind of control how a bud turns into a flower. We obviously it needs to be watered and stuff, but fundamentally life is doing that. Life is causing the changes that happen in a living thing, and the mind is part of that system. We're not a computer, we're not a machine. And you hear people talking about programming the mind, or you hear people talking about trying to control their state. And every time you're trying to control something, or engineer something, or do something to clear cloudy water, which is essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to get back to the zone, or we're trying to get more connected to ourselves. The only thing that connects us, or we're not really disconnected, the only thing that kind of allows us to see what's going on and to see the wood for the trees is when we leave it alone. And it's the system itself that causes clarity. And that's a really important thing, because I know certainly as a musician, I used to think that I had to be confident, or to think that I wasn't supposed to feel nervous, and nervous is that, and confident, or not necessarily always in every single case, but I suppose what I'm saying is that we kind of go between having a head full of crap and looking for a reason why we've got a head full of crap, and not noticing that it's the head's, the mind. It's not the head. It's the mind. A capacity for thought, and to a capacity to have pink spangly things inside our head that is doing it. And it can only be a kind of less is more approach. Because I was speaking to somebody a couple of days ago who suffers from panic attacks and who suffers from anxiety, and I was talking about how this system kind of naturally clears, and a very natural thing to do, and a very natural question to ask is, well, what can I do to clear my head? What can I how can I make this better? How can I be clear more of the time? I get that the mind clears by itself, but how can I make it happen? And I kept gently saying to her that it's not something that your intellect can do. George has mentioned, I find 30 minutes of meditation helps clear my mind most times. That's a great observation. So I've done meditation in the past, and I found the same thing, that lots of times it clears my head. That's true. And I've also found that there are some times when it doesn't. And the times when it clears during a meditation, then what's happening is that the mental dust is settling, and the times when it doesn't clear is when the mental dust isn't settling. And it can really seem like, we've given ourselves a little bit of time. We've given ourselves, say, 30 minutes, not 15, but 30 minutes of meditation, and the dust has settled, and it can look like, well, that's a result of the meditation. And I'm not saying, whether someone should or shouldn't meditate, because I think meditation's, there's a, it's good for people to stop and to give themselves time for themselves, and it's good to look in the direction of what the mind is doing. That's all healthy. But I suppose what I'm saying that I'd really love to kind of impart today is the fact that there is always this system. This can't be worked around, and there are so many people talking about like flow hacks and mind programming and all that kind of thing, and I can understand why it seems to work, but ultimately the thing that we're dealing with is a self-clearing system. There's a self-clearing mechanism at play, and whatever you do with that, it's still going to work the same way. The more you stir it in some way, it's going to lead to it staying cloudy. It's gonna keep it cloudy. And so, sometimes meditation, if I've been stressed out, for example, and I have felt it's really important to me to clear my mind, and I've tried to do something, and then I've found that I haven't been able to, that's then stressed me out, because the thought of having a tool that doesn't work when I really need it has stressed me out, and I haven't noticed. This is going back sort of 5-10 years ago. Before a performance, I try and do some deep breathing exercises, and when I couldn't calm myself down by sort of sticking my fingers into the water and sort of swirling it around, then I'd start to get more nervous, because I think, well, oh God, well, I'm making it worse. What can I do if that doesn't work? How can I control my mind? And really, all I really needed to do was to kind of stop. Now, I'm just conscious of the time and just checking how long we've been going for. Carly says true. I should probably put that up a little while ago. You've got to forgive me by not always noticing the comments on here. I'm a little bit new to making sure I can see the comments. So I've called it clarity, your greatest resource. Why is it your greatest resource? Well, the thing is that if we know that we have a mind that self-clears, and that clarity is its natural state, and that doing things, thinking more will cause it to fill up, and kind of naturally it kind of moves about on its own, and that's all healthy. If we know that clarity is the natural state, then it gives us a load of extra possibilities, and it also gives us a much simpler relationship, because we know that we don't have to manage our thoughts. We don't, if we're having a clear experience, or we're having a cluttered experience, wherever we are on this, whichever one of those we're in any particular moment, it's a second outing of the stick men, then it's okay, and all of that is mental health. All of that is well-being. It's just that when someone is full of cluttered thinking, and their mind's going 19 to the dozen, then they've just forgotten. They've lost track of they've lost sight of the fact that there's this innate well-being always there. So it's not so much about whether someone's broken, or whether they're fixed, or whether they've got a mental condition or not. It's much more about how aware they are of what they actually have going for them, which is this amazing source of clarity, the self-clearing system, Mother Nature's logic that just does its own thing without us needing to intervene too much. And the thing is that if we also know that we go between clarity and clutter, then it means that we kind of know that there are certain times if I'm feeling insecure and it looks like my insecurity is coming from how much cash I have in my bank, or how well my business is doing, or how good the last gig was. If it looks like my feelings are coming from the outside world and not this system, which is innocently doing its own thing, then that's a sign for me to go, do you know what? I'm not seeing the wood for the trees at the moment. Probably not the best bet to change my career. Probably not the best bet to make judgments about myself. Probably best to leave it alone. Probably best to give myself a little bit of a break. Because when we're in this sort of state of mind, when we've got a head full, then it's the most natural thing. Part of that is to feel isolated and to feel like you're the only person that's having that experience. And then, as it clears, it stops being relevant, and kind of naturally we feel connected to the universe and connected to our purpose, and we tend to find that new ideas spring up and inspiration hits us and insight hits us, and it's all because the mind slows down, and it's almost like we've been kind of cleared out, and the old stale thoughts have gone and something fresh has come in, and there's young children know this kind of thing instinctively. Young children are born totally in tune with this system of, I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling nothing at all. I want to cry my eyes out. I want to go running around, and whatever mood swing comes up for them, they go with it. They roll with it. They sit it out. And I heard some advice from a well respected expert in anxiety and panic attacks say to people that the chemicals that go through someone's body when they're having a panic attack, or when they're having a particularly anxious kind of outburst, is that they will clear by themselves if they're given half a chance to, within about 5 minutes or so. And when we trust in the fact that the mind can clear by itself, then the chances of those chemicals dissipating and sort of freeing us back to the state of clarity can kind of kick in, as this kind of autopilot that allows it. And it's counterintuitive. This is so true. This is so true, says Carly. It's kind of counterintuitive because we feel like we're having an unpleasant experience, and then, right, I need to do something about it. And doing is that, the thing we want is in that moment is a kind of, a release from that clutter. And what we're doing is cluttering it. We're cluttering it more. Okay, so that's really what my main message. I'm sorry, my snow globe is not more spherical. I should do that. But I'm accepting of the mind, the way that it is. If there's any questions, I'd love to hear from you. If there's anything that you'd like to ask or you'd like to interact, or I see that there's 5 viewers, and I'm sure there'll be people who will see this after the event as well. So if you've got a question, I'd love to answer your question. I've got about another 5 minutes, and if there's no questions, bear in mind there's a slight delay from when you type the question to when I see it. So obviously this is my cue to think, oh God, no one's watching, or the numbers are dwindling. My mind's going to fill up with clutter. Well, I tell you what, I can't see any questions right now, and it's been. I'm going to just have a see if there's anything else here. There's a few more comments. Nice one. Cool. Okay. Good stuff. Well, what I'll do, I'll call it a night there and draw things to a close. If you watch this on the replay and want to ask me a question, I'm very happy to answer any questions that you have. And yeah, I think what I'd love to leave you with as a kind of parting message is that your mind isn't broken. You already have innate mental well-being by virtue of the fact that you're alive. This is a sign that you're alive and that the mind is doing its thing. And whether you're in a cluttered state of mind, it's the last and final outing for the stickmen. If you're in a cluttered state of mind, or you're experiencing some clarity, then both of those things are normal, and as human beings, we have access to a really wide, vibrant, vivid set of human experiences. We have access to all kinds of emotion, and one of the main implications of this understanding of the mind for me has been that where I used to want to kind of manage and censor my experience, censor my feelings and stop myself from feeling anxious or try and make myself feel confident. When I left alone from that, I found that I could experience all sorts of emotions very naturally and very effortlessly, including like being quite comfortable talking on a Facebook Live, and that would have been unthinkable, say, I don't know, 5 years ago, because it would seem like there's lots hanging on it, when really, of course, there isn't. There's just whatever's going through my mind, so less is more, and clarity is your natural state. Okay, it's been great talking to you, and thanks for the interaction for the people who have interacted, and I hope to see you soon. Much love to you all. See you soon. Bye bye.